Welcome to Living in 3D Power, a space where questions matter, stories heal, and joy is our practice. I'm Dr. Amber Sessoms, and each week I sit down with my daughter Emma to talk honestly about life, identity, and the power of wonder. This season, we're guided by a sacred invitation. What would it look like if joy was our strategy, not our reward? Here, we discover truths long buried, discern paths toward freedom, and devote ourselves to living with authenticity and love. Together, across generations, we're learning that joy is not the prize at the finish line. It's the rhythm that carries us forward. Hey y'all, welcome back to Living in 3D Power. And this week, it marks what would have been my great-great-Aunt Jerry's 98th birthday. And it feels like it's the perfect moment for Emma and me to talk about what it means to honor those who came before us and to celebrate those who are still here. So this conversation, it was inspired by my forever mentor, Dr. Rita Smith-Waddell, where I went down to Millersville University, my alma mater, where I also happen to be on the Council of Trustees. And we rededicated the Dr. Rita Smith-Waddell Intercultural Center in her honor. And it was such a beautiful moment because I was in a space surrounded by students and colleagues and community that reminded me that remembrance isn't only about mourning. It's an embodied joy practice, and it's rooted in gratitude and memory and an enduring love that calls us to reimagine our world. And as we prepare for this weekend for our Grams, Emma's great-grandmother's 80th birthday, it's also her namesake, if you didn't catch that, because her name is also Emma. I've been thinking about how essential it is to give people their flowers when they're yet alive. So how do we honor them through our presence, through affirmation and community? And I believe this weekend's going to be a beautiful practice of that, another joy practice. And I also understand that joy and mourning can often live side by side. So Emma and I are talking about that a lot. From her twin who died in utero, to her cousin and my nephew Harlem, who was born stillborn, and remembering that October is Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month and Remembrance Day. So it's observed on October 15th. And in our home, we honor their lives through story and ritual. Angel wings that once hung over Emma's crib that are now at the threshold to our living room, a small bunny she keeps for her twin, my baby's breath infant loss necklace, and a permanent bracelet with angel wings that I keep on as a daily act of remembrance. And I also want to note, and I'll put the link in the show notes, that the Caring Place, which is neighbors to us, they are an amazing resource for children who are grieving and mourning loss. But they remind us that children grieve differently. They may not have the words, but they have the feelings. And when we give them space to name and remember, we teach them that love doesn't end when life on earth does. So as you listen, I invite you to think about the ones who shaped you, the ancestors you carried, the babies you carried, and the loved ones still here to receive their flowers.
It's me, it's me, it's me. It's me, it's me, it's me. Hey, it's me, Emma. Welcome back to Living in 3D Power. And today we are going to be talking about our relatives or ancestors.
Yes, so got this idea because last week I went to Millersville University, my alma mater, two-time alum there, got my bachelor's, undergrad, and then my master's there. And we had homecoming this past weekend. I went to Millersville University on Thursday because we rededicated a center that was named after my mentor, Dr. Rita Smith-Waddell. And she was such a pivotal person in my life. I know you see the picture of her in my office, the picture of the marble frame in my office. That's a picture of where the elephant is. So the golden elephant reminds me of Rita because she loved elephants. She was a Delta. Her favorite color was red. But they named this center after her. She died, oh my gosh, how many years ago from triple negative breast cancer? She fought that for 10 years, which is a miracle in of itself. And there's never anyone that I've ever met that died with so much grace,
a lot of people will be afraid to die, but she embraced it because she has such a strong faith. And I think she was so clear in that she lived out her purpose on this earth. So the beautiful part about it is when you talk about your ancestors and their legacy, like what they leave behind, she has so many students.
I know what legacy means.
What's that mean?
It means like something they left from the past that was great, that was like good that they did.
Yeah, that you can carry on too. So there's a part of that she imparted in us. So I was thinking about it too because I was driving down to Millersville. I was not in the best mood. It was a rough day. I had a rough conversation with someone. So I had to get myself together because...
What was the conversation?
You so nosy. It was a conversation about values alignment. Am I in or out of alignment with my values? Because one of my biggest values is what? Do you know any of my values?
No.
You don't remember?
That you want fairness.
Fairness is really big for you. But mine, a really, really big one, fairness is very important, is connection. So having meaningful connection with people. So it was a conversation about that and it just made me think.
Boop.
Yes, it was like the E.T. finger. So I had to think, and it gave me about a 50-minute drive to think. But the hard part was that I had to get myself 50-minute drive down. I had to reshift and refocus because I was going to be speaking at this event for my mentor. So I wasn't in the best frame of mind, but what happened is when I walked in the space and saw all those people there to celebrate her on the day after her birthday, so her birthday was October 1st, and this event was the day after, it just shifted something in me because there's something powerful about being in a room full of people that knew who your mentor was and also can speak about her in truth, because Rita was could be hard sometimes. Like, she was rough, but she loved us fiercely.
At least I met her.
You did, yes, because we used to go down to her house,
Mm-hmm.
and then every summer we would go to Fishbone, and you would get the bang bang shrimp. So yes, what was it called? Fishbone Grill.
Yeah.
So yes,
I
that
don't like
was
that
our
place.
summer tradition, and we would go over her
I
house.
used to like that place.
Yes.
Before.
And she loved you, and before you got sick, I know you were going to bring that up. But I do still have her voicemail when you were born. It's still on my phone. I will never delete it. But she called me when you were born and said, "That's a beautiful, beautiful baby." So I thought it would be really great for us to talk about our ancestors because we're talking about joy this season. And some people don't necessarily equate joy and grief together. But I think they can go hand in hand, that we should remember our loved ones. And you know what I'm thinking about? Remember the movie Coco? That scene, what's the scene that was like everyone's in tears? Whenever she remembers, what does he do? Does he sing a song to her and she starts singing the song?
She sings the song.
Because she had dementia at that point, right? So she couldn't remember stuff, but that song brought her back to her childhood. And the other pivotal thing about that movie, which I loved, is that if you forget about your ancestors, this is not the part that I love, but
They have like a whole pictures of them.
right? But
It's
remember,
like
it started
a family tree.
disappearing, or they couldn't come back to visit you because you forgot about them. So the important part is, and this is what we talk about in grief work, is that you have to keep their memory alive. So I thought today, because today is October 6th, it is my great-great Aunt Jerry's and your great-great-great Aunt Jerry's, it would have been her 98th birthday.
I did the math.
You did the math
Mommy
last night?
didn't.
Yes. So
Last
she was born
night.
in 19... Yeah, last night. It was yesterday you did the math.
Not
She was born-
last night, last afternoon.
Oh, last afternoon. Okay. She was born in 1927. So we have some pictures here, and we're just going to have a conversation about our ancestors and what that means for joy. So here's a picture of Aunt Jerry. I'll put it up on the screen. But this was actually the last picture we took of her before she died. The thing about Aunt Jerry was she didn't like to have her picture taken. So this was highly unusual for her to allow us to do this. So this is Mother's Day. We would go over Aunt Gag's house for Mother's Day, and Aunt Jerry let us take a picture. She even smiled. So you see Jessica, Cousin Penny, Aunt Gag, myself, and Aunt Jerry. So
Nice outfit.
My outfit. I remember that outfit. I think that was from Gap. the skirt and the top. But you did not get a chance to meet Aunt Jerry, but do you have any stories? When people talk about her, what do you remember? What have you heard people say about her?
You always said that she loved when Maya used to dance.
Yes. So Aunt Jerry you have never seen one of these, but her and my mom both had the old record players where it kind of looked like this cabinet here. It was a long wooden cabinet. It was a stereo system, and it had an 8-track player. So that's before even cassette players. There was an even bigger cassette, and it had a record turntable in there. So she would go to that and play gospel music. I'm talking like old down south. She ain't even from the south. Gospel music. And Maya would just, because Maya was a baby, she'd be bopping, and Aunt Jerry would just sit there and say, our baby can dance. She can dance. Mm-hmm. And it just brought her so much joy, because the one thing about Aunt Jerry is she absolutely loved children. She raised every single one of us. So I remember when you were born and when you started dancing, it reminded me of Aunt Jerry, because I thought, oh my gosh, if she were to see you dancing, she would be so happy right now.
Because I'm happy.
Yeah, because you really were dancing. Maya danced a lot, but I mean, you kicked it up like 10 notches. And
I was on the chair.
You did, yes, you were doing the most. So you definitely would have been such joy for her to see. So it's those moments, though, that can bring a lot of people sadness when they're thinking about, oh, I'm missing out on this interaction with my loved one, or they're missing out on this. But I think it brings me so much joy, because I still believe that she's with us in spirit, kind of like Coco when they come back and they visit us.
Little skeleton ghost.
But it's just such a beautiful thing. So I think about those things. And also, I have a picture of my mom. This was the last family picture that she took with us. So all these pictures are down on my bookshelf. And my mom right in the center there, this was Thanksgiving. So you remember she actually was peeking out the window, because we have the fire pit outside on the deck. And she just kind of peeked through, because look how little were you? Oh my gosh, Grandma's holding you. That's how small you were.
I remember that. She was like, come on, I gotta pick you up.
Yeah.
She can't pick me up anymore.
Probably not.
I'm too big.
Yeah, but this picture we had most of the family together for Thanksgiving, and this was the last holiday that my mom spent with us, because this was 2019, and then COVID came, in March, and my mom died 2 days after my birthday on April 18th. But I remember we were talking to her on the phone, because she wasn't able because of quarantine, but she felt ill really quickly, and she passed away so quickly. But thankfully, we were able to go see her anyway. And I don't know if you remember her service, but we had to have a graveside service. We couldn't even have it in a funeral.
I remember the rain.
You remember the rain?
Yeah.
I don't think it rained that day, because we were all outside at the graveyard. It's the cemetery where all of our family is. And I set up a tripod, and I live streamed the funeral service so that our family who weren't able to make it, that were in Philadelphia or wherever, could watch it, because it was quarantine time. So we had to be spaced out outside, and it wasn't a traditional way. It was? Maybe it was drizzling.
It was raining. You had an umbrella.
I don't remember that. But I remember that we all wore my mom's jewelry. Because what did my mom give you before she died?
Her jewelry.
And we still don't really know why
Yeah,
she decided to give it to you, but maybe Graham will know. But she gave you all of her costume jewelry, and you never got to go into the White House. We called my mom's house the White House. It was a 3-story house. And on the second floor, she had a middle room where there was a bed, and she had a big dresser, and she had all her jewelry on there and her beautiful brushes and hair combs. And I used to go in there and play with her jewelry. So for her to give that to you was super special, because that's a memory that I have from my childhood. And then she gifted you with all that jewelry. Speaking of Graham.
There is this little stone thing that was from 10 years ago. for a party.
Why you say it like that? You could say what the party was. It was her 70th birthday party.
Yeah, her
You were a
70th.
baby, though. You weren't even 1 yet.
I wasn't even conscious. I don't remember that party at all.
Well, yeah, you were a baby.
So there's a lot of pictures of her when she was a baby.
Yeah, look at her in that carriage. Remember we went to that antique store and we saw that buggy? That was Graham's carriage. Because Graham was born. Do you know what year she was born in?
The 40s?
1945. So she's going to be 80 this Saturday, October 11th. And so this was for her 70th, and we had it at the Hershey Lodge, and we're having a party at the exact same place, in the exact same room again. And during her
But
70th.
the theme's different.
Do you know what the theme is?
80 and exalted.
80 and exalted. Yes. So
She's making us wear all black.
I know people are like, all black, but the point is that Graham's supposed to stand out because it's her birthday, and then it makes the pictures look better because she's going to pop in the group pictures, and we're all going to be in uniform, kind of, and then she'll be able to stand out. But it keeps the focus on her.
You need to give me black shoes.
I know. We got to
And
find black
nails.
shoes. No, we're not doing all that. We don't need no black nails. Lord. If you stop biting your nails, maybe we can get some paint on those things. Bad habit. Yes, so 70, there actually wasn't a theme. Not that I recall.
It looked like red, white.
Well,
and
she was
black.
wearing red, and we wore black and white. But in terms of like a theme, in terms of like a saying, in terms of, what did I say? 80 and exalted. But I got the idea for her 70th. Oprah did a Legends Ball, I think maybe in the early 2000s. So it was all these really influential women in her life, all these amazing women. And she did a spoken word poem. We Speak Their Name by Pearl Cleage. So various members of us got up and did this rendition of the poem for her. And I also did a documentary. So you don't remember this because you were a baby, but the cutest part was we talked about because you're named after Graham. And it was a surprise to her. And in the video, we cut to you and Daddy's holding you. And you were just like, making these little cooing sounds. And I literally just put subtitles next to everything you were saying. It was basically like, I'm so glad I'm your namesake. And it was the cutest moment. But I interviewed, my mom was still alive. So I interviewed her sisters, Pop, which was ridiculous, her daughters, and myself. And that was a surprise too, but it was really nice. And this time, and that's a fact, that's Pop's line. But my mom closed it out for her 70th, and she said, okay, well, that's all I got, Emma. Happy birthday. That was the ending. But for this one, what are we doing this year for her 80th? What's the video this year?
I don't know.
What did you do last week? You and Graham.
Oh, it's a surprise. So,
Well, Graham obviously knows about it.
we're having an episode.
Why are you making that face? If you're not watching, she's making this devious face and she's lifting up her eyebrows up and down. So we're having a special 80th birthday episode, and we're going to show a segment of that at her party.
Exactly on her birthday.
Yeah, we're showcasing it on her birthday, but we'll show the video to everyone listening or watching next Wednesday. So that'll be next week's episode
Wednesday.
after her birthday. And we can kind of recap a little bit of that. But that'll be a surprise for the guest. And there's some other surprises we have in store for Graham. And I'm really excited about that. So hopefully we can have a highlight reel from the event to showcase how we celebrate an 80-year-old matriarch of the family. But I think,
There's gonna be cake.
of course there's going to be cake. It's at the Hershey Lodge. Reese's peanut butter chocolate cake. Apparently it's a fan favorite there, which makes sense because it's Hershey's chocolate, so why
Mom's
not have
gonna
something with Hershey's
like
chocolate?
5 pieces.
I know, we're going to watch it. She's going to be devouring it.
She's gonna be like,
And too bad Pop-Up Eddie can't come because that's his absolute favorite.
she's gonna be like, no, peanut butter and chocolate.
Why? Y'all, she should be an actor, right? So let's think about the party, though, because the theme is 80 and exalted, and 80 and exalted. Exalting someone means to tell them like how you feel about them, to give them honor and reverence. And what do you think the significance of that would be for the 77 people in the room to be able to
77.
Yeah, like 77 people to be able to exalt your great grandmother? What do you think? Why is that significant? She's the matriarch of her family. We have all these people coming together to celebrate her on her 80th birthday.
Because she's amazing.
How do you think that will make her feel?
Happy.
Yeah. And there is a saying, and I can't really think of it. It was like, give someone their flowers while they're still here. Because if when you go to funerals, you see a lot of flowers at funerals. And what good is it?
Roses.
What good is it if there's flowers when someone's dead?
Yeah.
So give them their flowers while they're still here, which means that we don't wait until someone's dead to tell them how much we love them. We tell them when they're alive. So what I think is going to be awesome, there was something, who's the guy that played Spider-Man? He's the one with the English accent.
Tom Holland.
Tom Holland's? Oh, I don't think that's him then.
Tom Holland.
He's younger though, right?
Tom Holland.
Is he dating Zendaya?
Yeah.
Okay, it's not him.
Engaged.
It's not him, but it's someone I thought that played Spider-Man, but I might be making it up. I saw a clip of this. He was talking about grief, and I think his mom died of pancreatic cancer. This could have been several years ago, but he was on a show, and he was like, it's okay if I cry.
Wait, there's another one.
I think it's that person, but he's also...
The one from 2010?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Well, at any rate, so if I find it, I'll put the link in the comments. But I watched it last week, and he was talking about if I get emotional, it's okay because I love talking about my mom. Because he's expressing how he feels. The grief is expressing all the love that he had yet to be able to share with her. And I thought that was such a beautiful way to honor her. It's just grief that has nowhere to go. But he loves talking about her. He keeps her alive, even through the tears. So I think that we can honor Graham in this way while she's still here and tell her how much she means to us while she's still here is really a good practice for us too, to really embody love more fully and tell people how much we care about them and not wait until something tragic happens. Yeah. How do we practice that every day? So what do you think? You think she's going to cry? She cried at 70 because you don't remember the video, but there's one part Aunt Florence, she just starts crying. She's like, when I grow up, I want to be just like you. And it's her sister. But there's like a 10-year difference between them. Whoa. 8-year difference. So she talked about that. But I think it's going to be really memorable, and it's going to be a really good practice for us. And let's see what other... Ooh, so we have 2 more pictures here. What's that picture?
Kind of look like my mom.
Who does?
Me.
Oh, I see it. Oh my gosh, you kind of have her nose. Because she has Graham's nose. Well, Graham has my mom's nose. So this picture was from when I was in my doctoral program. I did a research paper on, I don't remember what it was, the premise of it was, but it was essentially sitting down and talking with the woman or a family about the narratives and the stories that we've been told about ourselves and unlearning them. And it was across generations. And this is probably where I really got the idea. This is where the origin of having intergenerational conversations came from.
She's the youngest?
I'm the youngest. It's not in order.
Oh.
Who made this?
You?
No, I took the pictures, but this was made,
yeah.
Kristen, Terry's wife, her cousin Kristen. She made this for all of us after my mom died. This was just a really nice gift that she gifted all of us. So she took the pictures and made it into this. I think that's what happened. Or I think maybe I did this mosaic and she just printed it. But at any rate, this conversation that we sat down with during my work really brought up some stuff about our childhood, some stuff. And I think I remember at one point, Aunt Florence asked me if I ever asked my mom about my natural hair, because back then I had the loose curls. And I came home, this is the tie-in with Rita. So when I was in college in 2000, so I started college in 99, I meet Rita. Rita has these amazing, beautiful locks. I had never been really around I had never had a black educator before, let alone someone so confident in who they were and their blackness. And I remember her asking me a question about, why do you straighten your hair? Why do you relax your hair? And it was something really, I was just like, because I like it. But she was forcing me to really think about, do you think that it makes you prettier, more desirable to have your hair like that? Why can't you wear it natural? So what I did was I was running track and I was getting relaxers and my hair was breaking off because I was sweating so much. And also I heard Rita in my head, I'm damaging my hair for the sake of what? A beauty standard that's not even real. So I cut all my relaxer out of my hair. I went home, had my hairdresser cut the relaxer out, and she shaved my head down. And I remember going home and everyone was like, what happened to this girl? She went to college and got all Afrocentric. Now she's Mother Africa. And I never looked back. So I've been natural since 2000.
I want my natural hair back.
Well, you're still natural, but you mean the loose curls. Listen, when you get older and you can do your own hair, then we can talk about it. But
I keep on telling you, I want to do the research to find out if I can make my scalp less tender-headed.
Y'all, when I say this child is tender-headed, she's...
You already said it like 15 times.
But it's ridiculous. We locked her hair because I just could not deal with it. And she's even tender-headed when I do a retwist. I don't even do a full 2-turn palm twist. I do like a 1.5 turn. She got to get her whole entire life together just for me to twist it 1.5 turns. It's ridiculous. So the locks are not going anywhere right now because I don't got it in me. I just don't. But at any rate, Aunt Florence asked me if I ever asked my mom about my natural hair, and I was like, I never thought to ask her. So I go to ask my mom about my hair, and you know what she said? I probably shouldn't say this, but think about the generations, y'all. So my mom at this point was like 90. She says, I don't like no nappy-headed kids. So, but it never occurred to me to ask her what she thought because I was like, what does it matter? But the funny part was also about that is, at that point, my mom's hair was natural. And I don't actually know, now that I think about it, if my mom ever had a relaxer. Look at these pictures, though. Do you see which one is my mom? So, I will flash this on the screen, but this is all the sisters and Grandma Emma, who Grandma Emma was named after and you were named after. Can you find my mom in this picture? Which one do you think is my mom? What? That's Aunt Betty. She was the baby. That's Aunt Jerry. You can't see my mom in that? She doesn't look like herself? My mom might have been, I don't know, because that's Grandma Emma. So that's my mom's mom.
Oh.
And that's Aunt Jenny was the oldest, and then it was my mom. I don't know. I think it was Aunt Nip.
That doesn't look like my mom.
I mean, think she was probably in her 20s here.
Oh.
Maybe 30. Maybe 30. I don't know. This is in my mom's house. This was the back room in my mom's house. And that's Aunt Jerry, and this is Aunt Nip. So we just went to Cousin Loretta's funeral. That was her mom. And as I'm looking at this picture, Cousin Loretta, we actually called her Aunt Loretta. She looks so much like her. And that was Aunt Betty, the youngest. So when you see, I have all these pictures, y'all, on my bookshelf. It's kind of like my dead shelf because Aunt Nip, at her house in North Philly, she had a dead wall. So you would go in her house and this little strip of wall, it was ceiling to floor. It would be all the ancestors on her wall. That's just what she did. And I think now her oldest daughter has the pictures, but I never had seen anything like that. But now that I think about it, I kind of created my own little dead wall, but it's a shelf to really honor our ancestors. And I think it's really important. And I had the picture of Daddy Brown there as well. So these are the things I think it's really important to keep those memories alive. Even as we think about this month being like when you have a baby that's died either in utero or childbirth or a baby that didn't live that long after it was born. So you think about Harlem. This is the month that we honor babies that were born stillborn and that we have lost.
What if they weren't born?
That we still honor those babies, so we honor your twin too. So we honor babies that we have miscarriages or we have a twin that didn't survive. We honor all of those babies. So this is a month that we think about grief awareness and we honor our grief. We hold space for that, but we also think about all the joy that our loved ones brought us. And sometimes it can be hard for people during those anniversaries. So like today being an anniversary for Aunt Jerry, some people really struggle or they might feel something in their body. I have a friend who lost her son to an overdose, and even around that anniversary, something happens in her body. She can't always pinpoint it, but it shows up in your body. I have another friend, same thing happened. Her brother died, and she goes, oh, she's always off around that time. Totally normal, but it's just noticing it and recognizing it, and what do you do to honor that person? So what are you thinking about?
Have a party.
Have a party. You can have a party. Absolutely. I think I saw that online. Oh, I think our friend did that for their uncle that passed. They had a birthday cake for him, and they had a candle, and they sang happy birthday to him and blew out the candle. So I thought that was really sweet, too, that you can still honor that. And if I'm being honest, sometimes I think about it because you know what also is on Graham's birthday? What other day?
Anniversary.
Diana's anniversary is on that day. And I think about at some point, there's probably going to be an anniversary where Graham has transitioned. And then how do we navigate that? So how do we honor and hold space for that? So I think this is going to be really an awesome experience for us as a family. Now you'll remember this birthday because you're much older. But how do we honor her? They get to see y'all in conversation and all the giggles that I had to contain myself with because you said some stuff. Graham kind of turned into mum at some point.
The first take was fun.
The first take because she didn't know we were filming? Well, you didn't tell me we were filming. So what kind of practices do you think that we could do to honor our ancestors? What's something that we can do as a joy practice?
Celebrate them.
So we're kind of doing that today, right? Talking about them. On their birthday, we have a group text for the family. And this morning I sent...
on it.
Because you don't have a phone.
Do I have to have a phone to be on a group text? No.
Well, you going to have an iPad?
Yeah.
Oh, and as your iPad is ding, ding, dinging all day because you and your little friends are texting? That's a lot. Yeah, we're going to hold off on the phone. This is why you can only get a couple hours on the iPad because it's unnecessary.
Yeah.
I feel like it rots your brain.
You're on the phone a lot, too.
I'm on the phone a lot. I was editing a video.
But still.
My brain's still not developing. Is it dusty?
Oh,
my brain's
my.
still not. My brain's not developing yet. Yours though. Your brain develops until you're at least 25. Your frontal lobe.
25.
And who knows what happened with COVID or this technology? It might be 30 now or 35.
I'm way more smarter than the people.
You're what?
I have a better vocabulary than people at my school.
You do?
When a teacher says, do you know this word? I'm like, yes. And then most of the other people are like, no.
You always liked words. And
I use them a lot, too.
Yeah, you use, I know. It's not even that you will even read the word. You'll hear the word and you'll be like, what's that word? And then it's like you just put it in your memory bank and you use it in a sentence almost immediately. That's definitely a strength for you. This is preposterous. So I think we have found another joy practice. So if you are feeling low, thinking about a loved one, killing my throat, how do you honor them in a way that you can reclaim that joy?
Yes.
That you can be grateful for what they brought into your life? And I think the other important thing is that you can do it in community. I think that makes it even more important. So when you go to funerals, when you celebrate people's lives, you don't do it in isolation.
I remember this one time when we went to a funeral on someone on Daddy's side of the family, and we went to a restaurant. And when I was at the funeral, I was sad. But when I was at the restaurant, I had fun because I was going around the restaurant with my cousins.
And you don't get to, I think you've just met them for the first time. You hadn't seen them since you were a baby. They're in Virginia Beach, but that was Aunt Margaret's funeral. And it's funny that you bring her up because she reminded me a lot of our aunts on our side of the family because she was like no nonsense, would say the things, and she was really funny. But she was the youngest of the group. So I do, yeah. We went to, is it called? Maggiano's, I think is the name of the restaurant. It's near King of Prussia Mall. So we went there to eat. And you saying that you remember being sad at the funeral, do you know why you were sad?
Because everyone else was.
So you were feeling what everyone, that collective grief everyone else is feeling. And then it shifted for you when you went to eat. So we call that a repast. So after the funeral, you go and you break bread and you eat together and you fellowship together. And that does help you. So here's the thing, though. It helps people in their grief so that they're not alone in their community when they're grieving. Here's the thing we forget, though. When loved ones have passed, we'll check on you maybe like for that next week, and then we forget about you.
They're like, are you okay?
And then, oh, they're fine.
Yeah, they're fine. It's been like a week. Yeah.
Yeah, and people will always say, you know, check on people months from now or holidays. But I also remember someone saying to me, it's not just holidays. Like major holidays that everyone thinks about, it's those anniversary moments for people. So birthdays, and it could be special moments to them. So someone could be grieving, or that grief might bubble up to the surface and you might not know it because, oh, it's only on Christmas that people get sad about their loved ones. No, it could be any day of the year because they're still tethered to you. Yeah. There's actually a book on that called Heartstrings, particularly for childhood grief, that you're still connected, you're still tethered, that string is still attached to the person in heaven. So I think those things are really important. I'm really glad that we had this conversation about thinking and honoring our ancestors, particularly honoring Aunt Jerry today on what would have been her 98th birthday. She would...
Technically, she is 98.
She is 98. Or she lives for all eternity now. Mm-hmm. But she had some of the best qualities out of all of us because she nurtured and took care of everyone in the family. And all of my childhood memories are really wrapped up in being at her house and one Genesis Court, or when she lived in other parts of Genesis Court. But that was the summers with her, listening to soap operas, One Life to Live, All My Children, General Hospital. Like my mom used to like Judge Judy and all those shows. Right. But thinking about all of those things and remembering those things. So there was a question. Someone had an icebreaker question. I was at some event. Oh, I think I was at church and someone had an icebreaker question. And the question was, what was your favorite childhood candy? So what was your favorite childhood candy? You're still a child, so.
Well, I have a lot, but I'm going to pick one when I was a toddler and from now. My favorite candies when I was a toddler was, you know those little sticks of like...
Pixie sticks?
Yeah.
Ugh.
No, because that was a memory I had.
What's the memory?
Before, before my dance recital, I had pixie sticks. And like my whole group,
One of the dance moms gave them to you?
Yeah.
Man, pure sugar.
And then, what's Smarty Pants?
Smarties?
Smarty Pants.
Smarty Pants are just called Smarties.
Smarty Pants.
What are Smarty Pants?
I thought that's what it was.
No, they're just called Smarties.
Same thing.
Those are your two favorite candies?
From when I was a toddler.
So what about now?
Nerds Gum Custards.
They are good. So when they asked me this question, it was tied also to a memory, but it was tied to Aunt Jerry. Because what candy do I always try to find? We were in some nostalgic candy store in Lancaster, and what was it? Do you remember the candy?
The like peanut chews.
Peanut chews. I don't know who makes the brand, but there's a milk chocolate one and there's a dark chocolate one. And anytime I see those, it makes me smile and think of Aunt Jerry. And I'll take it. I'll take a picture and I send it to Penny because people say that we were her favorites. That's not true, y'all. Penny was definitely her favorite. But when I see those peanut shoes, it makes me think of her. Or you wanted plums this summer, and plums make you think of Aunt Jerry, or Aunt Jerry used to eat cherries.
I love cherries.
So those little things I think are really important. So to keep those memories alive, and when you experience those things, or when you eat those things, or when you have that memory, sit with that a little bit and honor them. I think those are ways that we can keep them alive. So when you think about in Coco, where people stop talking about them, where people stop honoring them,
that much from
then
Coco.
you don't remember your ancestors. And how do we keep the legacy alive and pass it on to generation to generation? Because
By these pictures.
by these pictures. And also the thing I think about is with Daddy Brown, you didn't get to meet Daddy Brown either. He died before you were born. But the one day you were very little, you said something about Daddy Brown that you would have never known. And so these are these things where we say you've been here
what
before.
did I say?
I don't remember, but you just were talking about him. And I was like, what in the world?
I think I said like he was in the war.
Maybe. I actually don't know if he was in the war, but he was in the service. I don't think he was in the war, but he was in the service.
I don't know what I said.
But those are the kind of things I think are important, that we don't shy away from that, but we talk about that and we honor them. And this is also
Yeah.
why it's important that we continue to take pictures while we're here, so that at different stages when I'm older and when I'm gone, that you can look back, like you
And
look
when
back.
I'm older,
Well, I'll be gone and then you'll still be here, right? But the thing is that you can look back. You know how you said you looked at my mom and you saw yourself? So when you look back through pictures of me, you can be like, oh my gosh, I kind of look like mom when I was that age. Those are important things to remember your loved ones by. So make sure you take pictures. Make sure you
pictures.
talk about your loved ones
Pictures.
and continue to honor them on certain anniversaries. And when you're feeling sad, embrace that too, because that's just grief
okay.
that doesn't have a place to go.
Only one night though.
Only one night though. So what's your chicken nugget wisdom for this episode as we think about and close out talking about ancestors and how that still holds space for
I
joy?
have a challenge for you guys.
Ooh, a challenge. That's good.
The challenge is to find a picture of one of your relatives or take a picture with one of them.
Oh, should they reflect on something when they find the picture?
Yes.
What should they do? Maybe write about it, draw about it, what? Talk about it?
Talk about it or write about it.
Do you have a question that you would pose to them, like they should think about when they find a picture of their loved one?
They need to think about one thing that they love doing with them.
That's important. And think
Yes.
about how it makes you feel. Think about how maybe you can carry that, if it's a tradition, maybe it was making cookies or singing songs or gardening, whatever it could be. How do you carry that on with the future generation, right? Mm-hmm. I think that's really great, Emma. That's your practice for the week. That's your joy practice for the week.
Bye.
That's your joy practice for the week.
Sorry.
And then we will see you next week for the special episode with Great Grandma. See you next time, y'all.
I'm so glad you joined me and Mommy for this episode of Living in 3D Power. I hope you like it. Now do me a favor before you leave. Subscribe to our Substack and make sure you subscribe to wherever you listen to podcasts too. And hey, do me another favor. Share this episode with a friend or family member. If something we said made you laugh, made you smile, or it might mean something to them, just send it away. Okay, one more favor. That's a lot of favors, I know. Head over to the comments on our social media. Tell us what made you say, "That's deep, bro." Because your words encourage other people and they encourage us too. See you next time.